Hello everyone, this is Vanguard of Valor, and welcome, because today we're going to be setting out upon the Sunless Sea. We are continuing a game, in effect, but we will be beginning a game from the beginning, so let's jump into this and see what's what. Hello there, giant horrible crab. Here goes nothing. Here we are in fallen London. 3 decades ago, in the reign of Victoria, London was stolen by bats. Now it lies a mile below the surface. It was dreadfully inconvenient for everyone, but it opened a vast ocean to you. Welcome to the Undersea. And now we can choose our past and become the captain that we hope to be. We lodge in a room above the blind helmsman at the moment. But we have a choice now. What is our history? Were we a street urchin? Were we a poet? A veteran of the campaign of '68? An ordained priest? Or a natural philosopher? Each of these backstories will give us a bonus to one of our primary stats, which allow us to work our way through the adventures and discoveries of our game, whether we are using hearts to inspire, heal, or defend our people, dealing with terror buildup, whether we're dealing with veils for stealth and deception, pages for knowledge and the gaining of secrets, mirrors for being able to quickly aim at our enemies, hide ourselves, and notice things, and iron for doing damage and attacking our foes. I have previously attempted a couple different character beginnings, and I think that we are going to start today with a poet, something somewhat unusual. Educated and articulate, we seek sensation at sea. How lucky we had a legacy to spend. Our long-vanished father had a rich patron, it seems. Alright, well, this will give us a bonus to pages, the skill of trickery and knowledge. There we go. A wise soul. Experience? We have intuition. And our friend, the sly navigator, he's a little vague, but he probably knows what he's doing. Perhaps we can find someone better, eventually. So this gives us a doubling bonus to our initial pages stat, so we're no longer at 25, we're now at 50, which is wonderful. We've gained a new crew member, an officer, in this case the sly navigator. And we've gained 20 echo, which are the currency of the Undersea. We're no longer a stranger, now we're a struggling poet who's turned sea captain. We also need to choose our ambition. There are a variety of different interesting options we can choose here. We can search for our father's bones. Our father was lost at sea. We never knew him, but we've often dreamed of him. Find and return his remains to London for a decent burial. Or we have the option for fulfillment, to gather 100 tales, learn all we can of the sea, write a masterpiece, and retire. We can search for wealth, saying we know how it is to be poor. Now we want a mansion, servants, fine clothes, a family, perhaps. Or we can seek to establish a private kingdom. We can establish a colony where we are the absolute ruler. A utopia, perhaps. Perhaps. However, we can't start with this, and there are, I believe, other endings as well that you cannot start the game with. We, however, are going to go out searching for our father's bones. Our father was lost at sea. We never knew him. We have to find where he fell and bring him home. So, we're going to need to try and find clues to get on the road to this, but this will be a long task, probably one we may never even achieve during our lifetime, but we'll see. However, we have one more piece of paperwork to solve. Captain, an irregularity with the harbourmaster's office. They wish to know, what term of address do you prefer ashore? Well, we will go as captain. We'll do perfectly well ashore as well as at sea, thank you. There we are. All right. So we have ourselves everything we need to go out to sea. We, of course, need a name. I will be Vanguard, and I believe we need to choose ourselves an appearance as well. We have a variety of different appearances to choose from, male and female, a variety of designs and intents, and I think we will go today as a dapper gentleman. Sounds just about right to me. Our father's bones. A cold trail. Our father, lost at sea so very long ago. The trail was cold, but now we have a lead. Mr. John Huffam, editor of the unexpurgated London Gazette. He's published our poetry from time to time. 1 week ago, he casually mentioned that our turn of phrase is very like our father's. Let's investigate. A coffee at Caligula's. Huffam curls his fingers round his steaming cup, a protection against the dank cold of the morning.
Oh, yes, I knew him. A man of some talent, your father. But he turned that talent to, love poetry. Ghost writing it, if you understand me. And as you may know, love poetry draws the attention of a particular power.
He glances out the window. We follow his gaze to where the spires of the Echo Bazaar rise above London. Huffam leans forwards.
The masters of the bazaar, he says very quietly, took an interest in your father. So although I liked him, and although I like you, I will need something to set against the risk. Bring me news. News from the sea.
If we bring Huffam a sea story, a tale of terror, and a memory of distant shores, he'll tell us more. We can find them in many places around the sea, or purchased far away in Iram. Well, as we explore, we'll find the sea story, the memory of distant shores, and the tale of terror to bring to him to maybe get a clue as to where our father's bones may lie. For now, though, here we are in London. So, there's a good deal of things for us to do, but for the time being, we're going to sell our instruction manual. This book teaches us many things about how the game functions, but I know these things already, and thankfully, at the very bottom, we have the option to just sell our book. Done. We no longer have advice for captains. However, we did gain 50 echo for our sale, which is not bad. That will help us a lot in the beginning of the game here. We have the ability to go to our lodgings, our somewhat simple home, and we will be able to read the morning papers. The Unexpurgated Gazette, the magazine formerly known as the London Magazine, the Spiteful Trumpeter. News. In reading so, what do we find? The Connaught is threatening war. They always are. London's colonies on the Carnelian coast want independence. They always do. The undersea, the papers report, has undergone another alteration. Not yet it hasn't, you'd know. Oh, a promotional coupon from Miss Plenty's Provisioners for a half-cask of salt herring. We could use that. In reading the news, we've gained a supply and now have a recent news tidbit that we can trade in for others in the future. There's not much else we can do here, but we'll be able to keep looking around and see what else our story holds. Now, unfortunately, it looks like our history has been broken somehow, which is unfortunate. I played this game prior to this, and we did in fact create somewhat of a legacy to leave for this character. But, unfortunately, it looks like it has ignored that completely and somehow deleted it. So possibly trying to quit the game in between creating a character and ending a previous game is a bad idea, because we were supposed to start with a better gun, and we were supposed to start with an entire legacy, a better home to live in. But it looks like that's not to be, unfortunately, so we'll have to make do with what we have. Either way, there's some more things we can do here in London before we have to leave. We can go explore London itself and take on a few tasks for the future. Give us a way to make some money and perhaps make a living here. First thing that we're going to do is we're going to go visit the Admiralty's survey office. The Admiralty's picket fleets and intelligence networks are long gone. The survey office pays sea captains a small sum for recent information. As we travel around the seas and gain port reports, we'll be able to trade them in to gain the Admiralty's favor, which will allow us to do other tasks. So we're going to be starting to do that in the future. For now, though, that's all we can do here. However, we have another task we can take on here quite easily. We can offer passage to a tomb colonist. An emigrant will be paid to be taken north to Venderbite. It's oddly difficult to die in fallen London, but when a Londoner is too tatty and wretched to live, they wrap themselves in bandages and take ship for the tomb colonies. Our crew cart these ones aboard in padded coffins. They'll sleep there until the journey is done. Now we have a tomb colonist on our hold. We have to take them north to the colony of Venderbite and sell them there. Onwards we go. We also can take a look in our hold. In our hold, we have our deck gun, which is our primary method of defense at the moment. We could have an auxiliary system and a bridge system, and we have our basic elderly steeple engines. Words are hard. We also have 10 fuel, 5 supplies, our tomb colonist friend, 120 Echo, which is the currency of London, our Invictus token, which proves that we have not switched to merciful mode, which allows manual saving, and we have recent news. We can check our journal, which marks our accomplishments. We have none yet, as we have simply set out upon our way. We can talk with our officers. The sly navigator, what does he have to say?
The Z, Captain. Look at it out there. It's not our friend. Don't forget that.
And we can, of course, learn more about him. We can trade in secrets with all of our officers to gain skills, and he will improve our mirror's skill, thus improving our perception and detection. But we want to find out what he wants.
The Z is enough. But now you mention it, I've always had a desire to see Frostfound, the place where the Z rises to become a castle, the place where questions and riddles do battle for truth.
He sighs dreamily, but he's watching us carefully.
Yes, Frostfound.
And Frostfound can be found in the very north of the Z, which is a convenient thing, because we're going to be heading over there shortly anyway. You'll also notice we have a mascot here, a comatose ferret. Mostly it's immobile. Occasionally it's feral. All of our officers give us benefits in a variety of ways, although at the beginning, these ones are not particularly valuable. And we have our shops. Before we head out on our mission, we're going to buy ourselves a whole pile more fuel. We're going to spend most of our remaining currency on making sure we have the fuel and supplies to survive our maiden voyage. And now, we're off. We embark and set sail upon the Z. Travel in the Undersea is often uneventful, but can result in a variety of problems as we go. So let's take a look at what we're seeing here on screen so we can explain it. We've just discovered an abyss, Bad Stevener's abyss, and this is a good thing for us, because making discoveries gives us fragments. Fragments accumulate to give us the knowledge of secrets, which can be very valuable in our voyages. So as we explore throughout the world, we will discover many things, find many places, and hopefully be able to use that knowledge to grant ourselves all kind of boons. We have in the top left our speed, and our hull, and our cargo capacity. As we explore throughout the world, we will undoubtedly wind up taking damage from the denizens of the undersea, and we will inevitably wind up filling up or draining our hull as we use up our fuel and use our supplies, or as we take new things on board in our travels. This is pretty self-explanatory, I would imagine, but it is good to know what is what on screen. Here we have our fuel gauge, which triggers every time this fuel bar depletes, we have to use another fuel. Here we have our engine temperature, and if this overheats, it is liable to explode, which is never a good thing. And here we have our hunger bar, which indicates if our crew is getting hungry, and if they are, they'll need to eat from our supplies. Let's take a dock here at our first resting place. Welcome to Hunter's Keep, a quiet isle, a grand old house. Hunter's Keep, a hump of dark rock swathed in mist, like 100 other undersea islands. But here is a grand house with windows aglow, lawns impossibly green and lush in the false starlight, raked gravel paths. We stand on the dock as the sea nudges the ship's side. An unexpectedly warm breeze carries the faintest trace of lavender. We can present ourselves at the house, we can walk in the gardens, we can reconnoiter the island, or we can attempt to spy on the house. We are going to present ourselves at the house. Very nice. We knock and enter. A maid with smoldering topaz eyes shows us into the parlor where 3 young women wait. "A visitor," the youngest cries. The next youngest chuckles. The eldest sighs. "Do excuse the indecorum," she says. "Visitors are rare. You are very welcome. I am Cynthia. The noisy one is Phoebe, and the cheerful one is Lucy. You are in good time for lunch. Will you join us?" As a result of this, green glass and basalt, salt and silence. This means that we'll find another story next port. And we've now met the sisters of Hunter's Keep. We can choose to have lunch with whichever of the 3 of them we please, and today we're going to have lunch with Cynthia, the eldest, melancholy, pensive, and occasionally dramatic. Cynthia grasps our arm and whispers to us. Her eyes are wide and blue. Her hair is wild and tangled. Bats might nest in it. It seems to us that we're sitting on a hillside above a wide blue lake, listening to a story of a murder. an axe, a net, blood on scented water. "Another chop?" Cynthia asks. "You've barely touched your food. Here, I'll have the maid wrap something up for you. You can't be hungry. It's not safe to be hungry." And now we've lost 36 hunger as a result of our delicious snack, so we won't need to waste a supply quite as quickly. We're more closely acquainted with the Sisters of Hunter's Keep. And the story of blood in the water has brought the god of the sea, Salt's, attention upon us. Our iron is unchanged. This stat is not modified by this story, probably because our story was already high enough. We've gained a tale of terror. We've gained some actual terror, and we've gained a supply. And that's all for now. However, there's more we can do here at Hunter's Keep. We are also going to reconnoiter the island, which will allow us to create a port report of Hunter's Keep. And that can be quite valuable as well. Creating a port report will allow us to trade it in with the Admiralty's office and gain some more knowledge. Ships rarely come here. Nothing changes, even the weather. The house is the heart of the isle. The house and the sisters. But the Admiralty may be happy to know that nothing's changed, at least. Alright, with that, it's time for us to set to sea again. So off we sail, and time to discuss a little bit more about what we see on screen. I already mentioned our navigation, hull, and cargo space, fuel, and hunger bars, but this is our terror indicator. As we explore the sea is wide and dark. Terror will increase as we explore. As it builds, we'll become more afraid, and certain options may become unavailable or become available to us as we arrive in different distant lands. There's another location found, Prickfinger Wastes. But we will be doing our exploring and hoping to combat our terror as best as we can. If we're in somewhere that's well lit, our terror grows slowly. If we're in the darkness or we turn off our lights, our terror builds much more quickly. We'll need to do our best to survive in the wastes here, with as little problem as possible, but we will see how well we succeed. This yellow bar here indicates our progress upon accumulating fragments to make a secret. At the moment, we need about 275 per secret, which is not bad. As we explore more locations, we gain those fragments, as marked in our log here, and we'll be able to accumulate them into secrets which we can spend to either upgrade ourselves by learning skills from our officers, or by trading them in a variety of other ways in different events. There's also our officers bar at the top here, which includes all of our stats for easy reference, including how many crew we have. And there's also the bar at the bottom, which we'll talk about in a second after we make port here. Aha! Well, perhaps we will do battle first. We've discovered a flock of bats outside the tomb colonies. Now that we're in attack range, we gain the ability to charge up and precisely aim our deck cannon. However, the bats are attacking us as well. We've taken 10 damage from the attack of the bats, but now that their corpses lie in the water, we can move them to the spot where they were downed, and perhaps gain something. We can gather up the corpses. They're succulent with stolen blood. Into the pot with them. Those little bones are troublesome, and the flesh a little gamey, but salt them well enough, and they're quite edible. We've gained another terror, and we've also gained a supply. Very nice. And let's make port here in Venderbite. We've brought this decaying emigrant north. Now what? Days of shrooms and roses. The new tomb colonist surveys Venderbite, shaking her head. "It won't do," she says. "It won't do at all." A plan? I had no idea the place would be quite so unprepossessing. Perhaps we can liven it up a little yet. If only I knew a helpful Z-captain. Now she wants us to bring 10 units of mushroom wine to Venderbite, and they might have something to give to us. Well, our quest leads us to another, so we may have to do that at some point in the future, but 10 cases of wine might be quite expensive. We'll have to see what we can do in the future. For now, let's visit the tomb colony of Venderbite. On deck, we can hear the sound that 1,000 bandaged dead make as they shuffle and cough. We have options here, but only so many. It's something like the world's most restless concert audience or the world's most plague-ridden cathedral. We can explore Venderbite, but at the moment we want to gather gossip to make ourselves a port report. Who's plotting what out in the tomb colonies? Along the coast of the Untersea, it's remarkably hard to die. The decrepit and nearly dead who leave London and become tomb colonists settle here in bandaged peace. but they don't give up their ties to home or their politics. We gather a haul of complex clues, enough to keep our contacts in London interested, and we gain a port report for Venderbite. In addition to that, however, we'll also explore Venderbite a little bit and see what we can find. Here, they favor candlelight over gaslight. The shadows are swagged like cobwebs. The tomb colonists stand still enough to be mistaken for sculpture until they laugh or cough. One building in 3 seems abandoned. Dissolution. A tomb colonist hobbles towards us.
I will not, she hissed fiercely. I will not. Not for me, the Centaurium, nor the Emergence. I lived, and I will die.
She draws a sword from her sash. We jump back. Tomb colonists, fearless and long experienced, are famed for their dueling skills. She raises the sword, flourishes it, and beheads herself with a triumphant cry. Her head bounces across the ground towards us. That's all for now. We've gained a lamentable relic, the head of this dead woman, and we've gained another point of terror. Very well. We're also going to visit the first curator.
Z-Captains, the first curator gives audience.
The first curator is responsible for the preservation of the tomb colonies. It has been here much longer than London, like all the oldest tomb colonists. But even tomb colonists dissolve in the end. Its time is close.
No more light,
the obsequious steward cautions us.
The curator is terribly afraid of moths.
He opens the door and we step into near darkness. A pair of luminous lamplighter bees buzz in a latticed ivory tube. There's no other source of light. A bandaged shape, no larger than a child, lies crumpled on a couch. It lifts its head with obvious effort. It takes several seconds for us to distinguish its voice from the soft buzz of the bees. We listen to a whispered request.
Z-Captain, silk skin, not much left of me. I will go into the Grand Sanatorium. Bring me colors. 7 colors. Pay. Well.
7 colors?
Cosmogone, Irigo, Pelagian. Steward has list. Find them here and there, across the wide black Z.
Well then, let's accept this commission.
Thank you. This poor flesh thirsts for colors.
It collapses, rustling, back onto the couch. Even the effort of speaking seems to have diminished it a little. The audience is over. As the door opens, it shrinks from the finger of light that reaches across the floor. Outside, the obsequious steward nods.
The book. Yes, the book.
He hands us a slim, illustrated volume.
The curator is old as dust. We will all be grateful if you do it this one last favor.
Now we have the colors of the Neathbow. We're searching for Pelagian, Irigo, Viric, Violent, Apocyan, Gaunt, and Cosmogone. They all have clues.
P drowns in Pelagian, the color of the deepest Z.
Beyond the gate there is a sea more sunless. I is for Irigo. No one remembers why. Irigo colors the forgotten corners of home. Behind your mirror, V names Viric, the color of shallow sleep. V marks violent when blood is shed in a spired place. Violent ink is employed for the most desperate treaties. A wakes Apocyan, the blue memory and brightest coral. G is lost in Gaunt, which remains when all other colors are eaten. Gaunt can be found where shadows are myriad. And Cosmogone, which we can't get the clue for. Here it is. C lights Cosmogone, the color of remembered suns. The fecund, the fetid, the fungal. These flourish in the glow of Cosmogone. And now, we have a new quest as well. All of these quests will take us a great deal of time to uncover. But for now, it is time for us to head out, once again. Back out into the Z. Let us see what the Z has in store. As we explore out further, I'll explain the final section of the screen here. At the bottom, we have the ability to send out a Z-Bat. These bats will go out and search the Z for us and discover nearby islands. However, at the moment there are no islands within the Zbat's range, so we'll simply have to sail away and see what we can find. We have the ability to turn our lights on and off, do manual repairs if our ship is no more than 50% damaged, although I believe each section of repair costs you some supplies. We also have the ability to put full power to engines, which gives us a burst of speed, but will potentially destroy our engines and cause them to explode. This is a nasty beastie we hope not to do battle with. We can pause the game with either the pause button, or by pressing the spacebar. And we have the ability to check our journal while in transit, and to check the map while in transit. The undersea is vast, and at the moment our explorations are minimal. Each time we play the game, the world rearranges itself slightly. Fallen London, for me, has so far always been much further south, but it appears that now we're up in the north. As we explore the world, we'll gain a better understanding of where things are, so that if we're searching for something in particular, we'll have a better chance of reaching it. And there's also the main menu, which we shouldn't need to invest in while we're in this game. So let us search to the north. The Lifeberg is trying to attack us, but we should be able to leave it pretty easily. At the moment, we've now discovered the town of Wither, up in the far north, and its harbor, Andergard Harbor. There's a port here, visible by the slight circle of light, so if we make our way there, we may be able to find new discoveries. However, for some reason, the battle menu won't go away. There we are. And we've docked in Wither, a chilly city beside a waste of salt. Behind the great arch over the bay, the pale wastes stretch, white and silent as the face of the moon. Very well. We can explore this town, we can gather intelligence, or we can let our people go on shore leave in Wither. This is our first indication of a challenge, as far as I've noticed. This is challenge based on our Veil's skill, and if we begin it, we have the chance it indicates to pass or fail. Failure often involves some kind of negative penalties, and success often involves some kind of rewards. Surprise, surprise. The citizens of Wither enjoy questions, so much so that they always answer a question with another question. This can make intelligence gathering frustrating. Well, let's see what they have for our port report.
Are you asking for any particular reason? At what time of day? Is that your hat? Might it be 6? It could be 6.
Eventually, we cobble together enough implication and supposition to compose a report. We're also going to explore the town, though. Wither is a quiet, chilly town of grey stone and closed courtyards. The people are neither exactly unfriendly nor exactly hospitable. They have the irritating habit of answering a question with a question. Here and there are odd sights tucked away. Let's go take a look around. You've had a contest of riddles. Fisherfolk, sailors. A shady couple of likely pirates. And is that a drownie down by the water's edge? They sit round a fire at the Z's edge, passing around a bottle of something viscously black. They're wagering on riddles. Will we join them? Well, I'd love to. However, we have no money to wager, so unfortunately, we have no chance. We could try to sell our fuel, but it has no value, so that would make no sense to us. There's nothing else we have we could easily sell either. We could sell supplies in exchange for tales of terror, but I think we'll need the supplies more for the time to come. As it stands, it looks like Wither holds no more mysteries for us, so for the time being, we'll set sail and search again deeper in the Z. Now at the moment, we have somewhere else that we know we're meant to go look. We have been told that we're looking for Frostfall, which is in the high north. Well, we as well are high up in the north, and I'm sure we could find it if we look. Will we have time? Well, let's see. We have a good amount of fuel and a good number of supplies left to tide us over. Let us venture forth and see what we can uncover here. This looks promising. Apparently we've discovered the island of Codex. Let's draw closer and see what it hides. We are not the fastest ship. Someday we may be able to upgrade our engines to take on a greater burst of speed, but for the time being, we are a slow and ponderous craft. Let us see what lies within. An Isle of Answers. The Isle of Codex. A desperate cave full of mute exiles, an inexplicable colony of shivering, bad-tempered monkeys. We can acquire a doomed monster hunter here, but in order to do so, we would need a searing enigma, which we do not have. We can, however, compile a port report. No one will speak. This is a challenge. The exiles see many come, and fewer leave. Some are even willing to communicate, but their gestures are unfamiliar, the meanings unclear. Even when we can understand, these are answers without questions, as useless as a key without a lock. However, we have gathered a port report from Codex, and that will have to do. However, as it stands, we are going to have to end this episode here. So, thank you all for watching. This has been Vanguard of Valor, setting sail in the Sunless Sea. If you've enjoyed the beginning of this series, let me know what you thought about it in the comments below, as I certainly look forward to hearing what you have to say. For now, though, this is it. So thank you very much for watching, and goodbye. To this, but this will be a long task, probably one we may never even achieve during our lifetime, but we'll see. However, we have one more piece of paperwork to solve. Captain, an irregularity with the Harbormaster's office. They wish to know, what term of address do you prefer ashore? Well, we will go as Captain. We'll do perfectly well ashore as well as at sea, thank you. There we are. Alright, so we have ourselves everything we need to go out to sea. We of course need a name. I will be Vanguard, and I believe we need to choose ourselves an appearance as well. We have a variety of different appearances to choose from, male and female, a variety of designs and intents, and I think we will go today as a dapper gentleman. Sounds just about right to me. Our father's bones, a cold trail. Couple different character beginnings, and I think that we are going to start today with a poet, something somewhat unusual. Educated and articulate, we seek sensation at sea. How lucky we had a legacy to spend. Our long-vanished father had a rich patron, it seems. Alright, well, this will give us a bonus to pages, the skill of trickery and knowledge. There we go. A wise soul. Experience? We have intuition, and our friend, the sly navigator. He's a little vague, but he probably knows what he's doing. Perhaps we can find someone better, eventually. So this gives us a doubling bonus to our initial pages stat, so we're no longer at 25, we're now at 50, which is wonderful. We've gained a new crew member, an officer, in this case the sly navigator. And we've gained 20 echo, which are the currency of the undersea. We're no longer a stranger, now we're a struggling poet who's turned sea captain. We also need to choose our ambition. There are a variety of different interesting options we can choose here. We can search for our father's bones. Our father was lost at sea. We never knew him, but we've often dreamed of him. Find and return his remains to London for a decent burial. Or we have the option for fulfillment, to gather 100 tales, learn all we can of the sea, write a masterpiece, and retire. We can search for wealth, saying we know how it is to be poor. Now we want a mansion, servants, fine clothes, a family, perhaps. Or we can seek to establish a private kingdom. We can establish a colony where we are the absolute ruler. A utopia, perhaps. Perhaps. However, we can't start with this, and there are, I believe, other endings as well that you cannot start the game with. We, however, are going to go out searching for our father's bones. Our father was lost at sea. We never knew him. We have to find where he fell and bring him home. So, we're going to need to try and find clues to get on the road. And now we can choose our past and become the captain that we hope to be. We lodge in a room above the blind helmsman at the moment. But we have a choice now. What is our history? Were we a street urchin? Were we a poet? A veteran of the campaign of '68? An ordained priest? Or a natural philosopher? Each of these backstories will give us a bonus to one of our primary stats, which allow us to work our way through the adventures and discoveries of our game, whether we are using hearts to inspire, heal, or defend our people, dealing with terror buildup. whether we're dealing with veils for stealth and deception, pages for knowledge and the gaining of secrets, mirrors for being able to quickly aim at our enemies, hide ourselves, and notice things, and iron for doing damage and attacking our foes. I have previously attempted a couple. Hello everyone, this is Vanguard of Valor, and welcome, because today we're going to be setting out upon the Sunless Sea. We are continuing a game, in effect, but we will be beginning a game from the beginning, so let's jump into this and see what's what. Hello there, giant horrible crab. Here goes nothing. Here we are in fallen London. 3 decades ago, in the reign of Victoria, London was stolen by bats. Now it lies a mile below the surface. It was dreadfully inconvenient for everyone, but it opened a vast ocean to you. Welcome to the Undersea.